Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Gilman here. We've been learning a lot about long sounds, about how to construct the ta, ah, and the tu, oo, and what it looks like, and leaving a heart empty. Now is going to be an opportunity to really put that long sound into practice in our singing. And the great opportunity is with a story that I've grown to be really fond of, and it's really great because this is Black History Month, and Black history is rich and wonderful with some dark parts, meaning they're kind of some sad parts. But out of that sadness came some amazing music. Now, this is a picture of a slave in a cotton field. And the slaves had a master, and the masters sometimes were very cruel, and the slaves had to work without getting any money for it. And it was a very dark time in our history. Many slaves wanted to escape, and many did with the help of this woman. Her name was Harriet Tubman. And she and other people who wanted to help free the slaves worked in an organization called the Underground Railroad. And this wasn't really a railroad at all. It was a network of houses and people and places and hiding places where escaped slaves could go north to freedom. One of the men that helped the slaves was also named Pegleg Joe. And Pegleg Joe had a plan. He would hire himself out to the plantation owners, and there he would befriend the slaves and teach them a harmless folk song. Now, the slaves sang an awful lot, and they sang mostly to express this great need and sorrow, wanting to be free. They had pain that they needed to get out, and out of that came what we call the Black spiritual or Black work songs. And even though they were singing, they weren't happy. This was their expression. And some of the most beautiful music has come from that. And some of the music that we enjoy today had its roots in our Black slave history, the Black slave culture. We're going to sing one today. This is just one story, and it's called Follow the Drinking Gourd. When we sing it, I want you to do some actions. Now, some of these actions will come from American Sign Language, but not all of them. So if anyone knows that, I'm talking mostly to parents here, follow the drinking gourd. The slaves looked at the Big Dipper, and that pointed to the North Star. If you find the star constellation of the Big Dipper, it points to the North Star. So we're going to point to the stars. Follow the drinking gourd. And the drinking gourd had a big long handle, and we're just going to tip that handle to drink out of it. Follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom. If you follow the drinking gourd. So when you hear that part, you can do those actions. All right, I'm going to share a screen and start reading Follow the Drinking Gourd. Follow the Drinking Gourd. Story and Pictures by Jeanette Winter. Long ago, before the Civil War, there was an old sailor called Peg-Leg Joe. He did what he could to help free the slaves. Joe had a plan. He'd use hammer and saw and nail and work for the master, the man who owned the slaves on the cotton plantation. Joe had a plan. At night, when work was done, he'd teach the slaves a song that secretly told the way to freedom. Just follow the drinking gourd, it said. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. When the song was learned and sung all day, Peg-Leg Joe would slip away to work for another master and teach the song again. Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. One day, a slave called Molly saw her man James sold to another master. James would be taken away, their family torn apart. Just one more night together. A quail called in the trees that night. Molly and James remembered Joe's song. They sang it low. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. They looked to the sky and saw the stars. Taking their little son Isaiah, old Hattie, and her grandson George, Molly and James set out for freedom that very night, following the stars of the drinking gourd. They ran all night through the fields till they crossed the stream to the woods. When daylight came, they hid in the trees, watching, listening for the master's hounds set loose to find them. But the dogs lost the runaway scent at the stream. And Molly and James and Isaiah, old Hattie and young George were not found. They hid all day in the woods. At night they walked again, singing Joe's song and looking for the signs that marked the trail. The riverbank makes a very good road. The dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Walking by night, sleeping by day, for weeks they traveled on, sometimes berries to pick and corn to snatch, sometimes fish to catch, sometimes empty bellies to sleep on, sometimes no stars to guide the way. They never knew what lay ahead. There was danger from men who would send them back, danger from angry beasts, but sometimes a kind deed was done. One day they hid in a thicket. A boy from a farm found them. In a bag of feed for the hogs in the wood, he brought bacon and cornbread to share. Singing low, they traveled on. The river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. There's another river on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd. On and on they followed the trail to the river's end. From the top of the hill they saw a new path, another river beneath the stars to lead them to the freedom land. The drinking gourd led them on. The song was almost done. When the big river meets the little river, follow the drinking gourd, For the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Then they climbed the last hill. Down below was Peg-Leg Joe, waiting at the wide Ohio River to carry them across. Their spirit rose when they saw the old man. Molly and James and Isaiah, old Hattie and George ran to the shore. Under the starry sky, Joe rowed them across the wide Ohio River. He told them of hiding places where they would be safe. A path of houses stretched like a train on a secret track leading north to Canada. He called it the Underground Railroad. It carried riders to freedom. The first safe house stood on the hill. The lamp was lit, which meant it was safe to come. Ragged and weary they waited, while Joe signaled low with a hoot like an owl. Woo, woo, woo. The door opened wide to welcome the freedom travelers. They were rushed through the house to the barn, for the farmers knew there were slave catchers near. A trap door in the floor took them under the barn to hide till it was safe to move on. Then Peg-Leg Joe went back to the river to meet others who followed the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. With danger still near, too close for ease, the farmer sent the 5 travelers on. He drew a map that showed the way north on the midnight road to the next safe house, just over 2 hills. This time, James called the signal, a hoot like an owl. Woo, woo, woo. That opened the door to a Quaker farm. The travelers were led to a secret room hidden behind shelves. They rested there for many days and healed their wounds. Soft beds, full meals, new clothes, hot baths washed away some fear and pain. Isaiah smiled. When they were strong, they traveled again from house to house on the underground trail, still following the drinking gourd north. Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Sometimes they traveled on foot, sometimes by cart. The wagon they rode near their journey's end carried fruit to market and the runaways to freedom. At last they came to the shores of Lake Erie. Molly and James and Isaiah, old Hattie and young George climbed aboard the steamship that would carry them across to Canada, to freedom. 5 more souls are safe, old Hattie cried. The sun shone bright when they stepped on the land. They had followed the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd.